Today, we're looking at a blue ink by Atramentis Robert Koch Adular Blue. Hi, I'm Adam, and I'm an ink guy. I get inks, test them, and share the results with you. Now, there's timestamps down below, but if you've got the time, I would appreciate you checking out the entire video. If you'd like, you can follow me over on Instagram as an ink guy. Also, if you're new here, I do fountain pen ink reviews daily, so I would invite you to subscribe. In order to make sure I have a range of experience with this ink, I do the writing samples. I then put the ink into this Kaweco brass sport with a broad nib. I used it to take the notes for this video and wrote with it for a day. In order to have some standardization in my writing samples, I always use Clairfontaine, Tomoe River, and Rhodia paper. I do test other papers, but those will show up later in the video. Now, let's look at the writing sample. I picked this ink up in sample form, so it came in a vial like this. And to keep my writing samples consistent, I use a Jinhao 159 with a Goulet 1.1 stub, a Jinhao X450 with a Goulet medium, and a Jinhao X750 with a Goulet extra fine. Let's take a look at the Clairfontaine. No bleeding, no ghosting. The 1.1 has no feather spread, halo sheen, and no shade. Extra fine is lighter than the stub with no feather spread, halo sheen, spots of shading throughout, little pepperings of it, 11 seconds to dry. Medium is the same tone as the stub with no feather spread, halo sheen, no shade, 17 seconds to dry. Now the scrubby of the extra fine does show some color variation, so does the medium, but it doesn't show up in the medium for the writing. Tomoe River. No bleeding, normal Tomoe River ghosting. The 1.1 with no feather spread, halo sheen, no shade. The extra fine is lighter than the stub with no feather spread, halo sheen, no shade, 15 seconds to dry. Medium is the same tone as the stub with no feather spread, halo sheen, or shade, 24 seconds to dry. Scrubby for both show no color variation, and we didn't get any. And Rhodia. No bleeding, no ghosting. The 1.1, no feather spread, halo sheen, or shade. The extra fine is quite a bit lighter than the stub with no feather spread, halo sheen, no shade, 12 seconds to dry. Medium is the same tone as the stub with no feather spread, halo sheen, or shade, 18 seconds to dry. Scrubby for both show us no color variation, and we're not getting any. I agree with Vita that there's a lot to be learned by doing multiple chromatographies. The one on the left is done the way it's supposed to be done. I put a line of ink down and immediately put it into water for 10 to 15 seconds. And we see a gray line that has already gotten into the filter paper when it went straight into the water. Now a little bit of that gray pushes up, and then we see the hint of a very light turquoise before we get into that bright blue. Now the one on the right I let dry for 10 minutes before I dunk it into water, and that gray line is a little bit darker there. We see that turquoise a little bit better as it pushes up, and then that bright blue at the top. Resistance tests are done to see how well this ink can be expected to perform on the page, and more importantly, how hard it may be to clean from your pen. I let the smear dry for 3 days before testing it. Looking at the highlighter, I go straight to the lowercase h that says don't use this in a note-taking situation if you want to go back and highlight. Now, water's lifting all of the darkest tones. It's actually starting to reactivate everything. If you look at the right side, you do see a little bit of that gray there that is just starting to break down, but it's not going away. And water didn't do it for me. Now, pen flush is doing everything that water does, and if you look on the lower dot, the right side of the lower drop where I had a second drip, you do start to see that it's breaking down a little bit of that gray that's underneath. You're just getting the hints of some white of the paper coming through. It did take pen flush for me to get this out of my pen. The 1/3 bleach solution completely removes it from the page, even though you should not need it. For the inks I've tested, I have found an average viscosity of 2.5, with a realm of normal being from 2.1 to 2.9. Now I'm going to link the video that shows how I do my testing and calculations. The Atramentis Adular Blue has a viscosity of 2.26, making it normal. To find my average dry times, I use my writing samples, and for the inks I've tested, I found an average dry time of 17 seconds, with a realm of normal being from 13 to 21 seconds. The Atramentis Adular Blue has an average dry time of 16 seconds, making it, again, normal. Instead of finding inks that looked like the Atramentis Adular Blue, I would prefer to find an ink that complements its color on the page. And I've apparently been in a red complement kick. I chose another red, Robert Oster's Rubine. The second writing sample is done on yellow Rhodia, Life, and Franklin Christoph paper. Here we're looking at yellow Rhodia paper, not looking for performance change, more looking for tone changes. And this blue, look at what happened on the medium. Look at how this is a very nice turquoise green. Beautiful, kind of teal. Same happens with the extra fine. Same happens with the stub, but not as pronounced. Really, that medium is a standout. The scrubby did not have nearly the effect. But these are things to know if you work on yellow paper in a professional environment. Life paper, with no bleeding, no ghosting. The 1.1 has no feather, spread, halo sheen, or shade. The extra fine is a lot lighter than the stub, with no feather spread, halo sheen, little pepperings of some darker tones in there every now and then, just little bits. Like the K in Quick or Dog looked just slightly darker than the end of the word brown, so there is some. 9 seconds to dry. Medium is darker than the extra fine, a hair lighter than the stub, with no feather spread, halo sheen, no shade, 13 seconds to dry. Now, both of them show a tiny bit of color variation in the left to right. Only the extra fine really gave us the color variation in the writing. And last up is Franklin Christoph, where we do get some bleed spots in both the extra fine and the medium. It does not come through the paper and touch the next page, but it does start leading to a little bit of show through that is up to you if you can live with it. The 1.1 has feathering, horrible feathering. The whole way through. I wouldn't use it for that reason. No spread, halo, sheen, no shade. Extra fine is a little lighter than the stub, with no feather spread, halo sheen, no shade. Medium is the same tone as the stub, with a lot of feathering, just like the stub. The entire of brown, the K in Quick, the entire of over. I do not like this ink on this paper. The amount of feathering's bad. No spread, halo sheen, no shade, 7 seconds to dry. Scrubby for both show us no color variation. Actually, camera's showing quite a bit for the extra fine. I don't see it so much in person, but it wasn't there in the writing regardless. And that is all that I have for the writing samples. So what do I think of the Atramentis Robert Koch Adular Blue? This is a very nice tone on the page, and it behaves very well on the paper and cleaning out of your pen. So what nib and pen are going to give the very best writing experience with this ink? A very wet pen is going to make a darker blue for you to look at, but you're going to drown out any of the shading that you're going to get in the writing, where a medium flow, medium nib is really going to put down a unique blue with little spots of shading for you to see. If you've enjoyed this video and made it this far, I'd appreciate a thumbs up, and if you didn't like it, give me a thumbs down and tell me why. Thanks for watching.